Bob Hill, I welcome your concern, because you said that you got involved because you felt the Dean was unfairly treated, and none of us will probably agree with that too. But do you think that HG was unfairly treated, and will you be putting as much effort into ensuring that she gets well looked after as indeed you're looking after the Dean?
What was his name, by the way? I didn't hear his name.
Bob Hill from
Bob Hill.
Can I answer that? I'm so glad we've had tea together already and got to know each other a bit. So this is more of a personal exchange than it would have otherwise been. Bob, I think your concern for the vulnerable sets us a standard which we have to try and keep up to. So we're going to be grateful for it. Part of the difficulty in answering the question is we're not comparing like with like. In other words, in this saga there are two different roles. One is of a private person, and the other is of someone with public duties. So, but the simple answer to your question is, and this is the thing that really quite impressed me, that during the period when HG was on the island, a great deal of love and care and attention took place. And one of the things the Chorus report says is that HG found it difficult to respond in a consistent way. So sometimes she would be quite hotly grateful, and other times she would find it very difficult. So I think the first thing to say is there wouldn't be anybody in the island church at all who would want to do anything but show support and concern and love and understanding. I have some experience in mental illness, and so I'm particularly not personally, though you may not think so. And I'm particularly sensitive to the way in which people whose mental and emotional equilibrium is damaged or wounded are treated. And the fact is that one of the things that I think ought to come out of this discussion is the way in which the church exercises pastoral care to people whose emotional and mental equilibrium doesn't serve them as well as it might. It's immensely difficult to do because the church is a voluntary organisation that's not staffed by psychiatrists or psychotherapists. It's staffed and comprises of people who are committed to love their neighbour. Sometimes that's done well and sometimes it's done badly. One of the other things that characterises us is that when we do it badly we say sorry and we ask permission to start again. The difficulty with HG is that she ought to be given love, kindness, care and attention, and was. But then there's the question of what professional support she gave. One of the things the Chorus report said was that there were attempts both by the Autism Society on the island and by the psychiatric services to give her the support. And at one point she fired the autism advisor and she absolutely refused any medical and psychiatric care. My own view is that she would have been better off if she'd been able to accept the psychiatric care. Yes, as a compliment to the kindness that people in the congregation showed her. So I go back to saying that my answer, I think, is that we're not comparing like with like. One of the difficulties about being a Christian is that we're faced with loving our neighbour as a person and managing the institution of the church. None of us find the institution of the church terribly attractive and difficult to live in, but we do the very best we can. And at the moment, we're putting as much effort as we can into doing both, I think. And I hope we'll be forgiven if we make mistakes. There isn't anybody here who wouldn't want to learn from their mistakes and do better.
Could I come back? Because I think Mr. Bailhache did say something about the bishop failed to answer the question he was asked, and we now have the episode where I'm asking Senator Bailhache for a question that I've had to answer and I'm not getting it. And the question was to you, Mr. Bailhache, what concern are you showing for HG? Do you think she too has been unfairly treated? And what steps will you take, if you do agree, to help them? I can't hear.
I'm not sure that that's a fair question, if I may say so, because I have no professional competence to deal with people like HG who need professional help. I'm not a trained cleric, I don't have pastoral experience, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a medical person, and she is a person who, so far as I know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, does not live in Jersey.
No, she's banned till October, for 3 years.
Well, that's the categorisation. I don't know if you read the transcript of the proceedings before the magistrates' court. Have you?
No.
You have? Well, I suggest you do, because if you read the transcript of the proceedings in the magistrates' court, you will find that she was extremely sensitively and well treated by the magistrates who dealt with her case. And I think that the authorities in Jersey at that stage, I mean, that's just judging from the transcript of the proceedings when she came before the court, did absolutely everything that they reasonably could for a person who was before the court for committing a criminal offence. So that's my answer. It's not very satisfactory perhaps, but that's my answer to your question. Are there any other comments or questions? Yes.
And I share it.
Could I answer for the question for you, because Jennifer and I know each other quite well. We go to walk her dog past my house. But could I ask Jennifer, when was HG last in Guernsey? The reason I ask is that I'm in regular contact with her, in contact again today. I didn't contact her, she contacted me through the blogs I write. But I would like to know when she was last in Guernsey, because I think
I'm sorry,
casting aspersions tonight. No, stop because there's aspersions being cast about this young lady going to Guernsey, and I know that they're not true. So please could you tell
Well,
us?
I know the answer. I know the answer. So can I give you the answer? She was never in Guernsey.
Sorry.
She was never in Guernsey. The answer: she was never in Guernsey.
Sorry.
She was never in Guernsey. The answer: she was never in Guernsey.
Sorry.
She was never in Guernsey,
No.
to my knowledge. But there is a connection with Guernsey, and the reason I can't answer you properly is because the locus of that connection once was caught up in a different period of turmoil in HG's life, and they'd like their privacy kept. And it's again improper for us to say things about other people's private lives. So there is a connection with Guernsey, but I can't say any more because otherwise I breach their confidence. But you're right, technically she wasn't in Guernsey, but there is a connection between her and Guernsey in terms of the people who she'd been relating to. Would you accept that?
Can we leave it there? Dennis, before